Hello, welcome back to my channel. In case you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and also follow me on Instagram for notes and other updates related to physiotherapy. So today we are going to talk about cryotherapy. Cryotherapy is one of the oldest remedy for pain relief, fever reduction and control of bleeding. Cryotherapy or cold therapy refers to use of local or general body cooling for therapeutic purpose. Nowadays, the local temperature of the tissue may be reduced by various forms of ice or frozen gel packs. Skin temperature is reduced to 10 degrees Celsius after applying cryotherapy. Cryotherapy is used for edema reduction, reduce spasm, diminish spasticity before exercise, acute musculoskeletal injuries. Also, in vapocolon spray, fluoromethane is used. So we all know latent heat of fusion to raise the temperature of 1 gram of ice at 0 degree to 37 degrees Celsius, it requires 491 joule, whereas to raise 1 gram of water at 0 degree to 37 degrees Celsius, it requires 155 joule energy. Now let's move on to the factors which affect the temperature drop of the tissue or how they help. So the first factor is colder will be the application to the tissue, greater will be the heat loss from the tissue and easier will be the temperature drop. Second factor is thermal conductors or thermal conductivity of the tissues. It differs from different tissues. Third is length of time. Higher will be the cold application time, greater will be the temperature drop. Third is size of area. Larger the area applied to the cold, exposed to the cold, higher will be the temperature drop. So now let's see what is skin's response to the cold application. So the initial response of the skin to cooling is an attempt to prevent heat loss, and then it's accomplished by an initial local vasoconstriction. After some time is not defined, that duration depends on the area involved. Vasodilation occurs, and then vasodilation and constriction is alternately occurs for a short duration, and this alternating cycle of vasoconstriction and dilation is known as Lewis-Hunting reaction. Here is a graph of Lewis-Hunting reaction. This is normal. Then vasoconstriction occurs, dilation, constriction, dilation, constriction. As we can see here in the graph, this is normal point, this is time, this is dilation, higher point, and lower point is contraction. Here the cold is applied, and at this point flow becomes stable. So that is Lewis-Hunting reaction. That's how our body reacts. Now let's move on to physiological effects of cryotherapy. So it is divided into two types. Two effects are seen. One is local, that is to the area where cold is applied, and second is general, that is to the whole body. Local effects are on cutaneous blood vessels, seen on deeper tissues of the blood flow, deeper tissue blood flow, on tissue metabolism, and also on peripheral and motor nervous system. Now let's start with first local effect, that is cutaneous blood vessel. What is the effect of cryotherapy on cutaneous blood vessel? There is immediate vasoconstriction of cutaneous blood vessels shown by blanching that occurs. This restricts the blood flow in the skin so that heat loss is minimized. The speed with which vasoconstriction occurs is indicated by ANS reflex triggered by thermoreceptors. Now let's move on to vasoconstriction. How vasoconstriction occurs? So, when there is decrease in temperature, it stimulates cutaneous thermoreceptors. That stimulated cutaneous thermoreceptors passes impulses to smooth muscles, and they contract and causes vasoconstriction. Also, that impulse is passed to spinal cord through dorsal root ganglion, and that increases sympathetic adrenergic activation, and that causes vasoconstriction. All vasoconstriction further decreases blood flow. Also, due to decreased temperature, there is decrease in vasodilator release, and that too in return causes vasoconstriction. And there is increase in blood viscosity, which also causes vasoconstriction. So, this flow chart must be noted and remembered and understood well to see the effect of cryotherapy. Now let's move on to the effect on deeper tissues of blood flow. This causes a marked reduction in blood flow of up to 80%. The marked reduction in local blood flow might be expected to cause local tissue damage because of ischemia. This does not occur, and the lack of tissue damage produced by cooling is attributed to a decreased rate of cellular metabolism and possibly to change prostaglandin synthesis. The thickness of overlying adipose tissue also affects the extent of temperature change in deeper soft tissues. Now let's move on to metabolism. A major reason for cooling living tissue is to reduce local metabolism, as there is reduced oxygen supply, reduced production of metabolites, and reduced cellular activity. Thus, slow healing can occur. But this also protects the vulnerable cells from getting more damage, as superficial cooling of affected tissue increases their chances of survival. When an acute injury occurs, there is primary injury, and from secondary hypoxia, post-traumatic enzyme activity occurs. The reduced metabolic demand and rate of necrotic enzyme release and activity at lower temperature enhances the chances of survival of these vulnerable cells. Now let's see effect on nervous system, peripheral and motor nervous system. The skin contains primary thermal receptors. There are several types. There are more cold receptors than warm receptors. The cold receptors respond to cooling by sustained discharge of impulses, the rate of which increases with further cooling. It has been shown that the rate of conduction of nerve fibers in a mixed peripheral nerve is reduced by cooling. Now let's move on to indications and therapeutic effect of cryotherapy. Recent injuries is one of the most indication of cryotherapy, as cold causes immediate vasoconstriction. There is increased blood viscosity. Both diminishes blood flow, and thus blood loss can be stopped from recent injuries. Cooling must not be so intense or so prolonged that delayed blood coagulation or clotting time is lengthened by cooling. Now the second indication is pain, which is the oldest indication of cryotherapy. Pain can be alleviated in several ways by the application of cold. Cold application decreases the extent of local inflammation, which blocks the transmission of fast A delta fibers. Cold has little effect on the conduction of action potential in C fibers also. Also, another way that cold can reduce pain is via direct effect as nociceptors on nociceptors. Third indication is post-operative. Different methods of cooling are used, particularly post-orthopedic surgery involved limbs. Cryotherapy is often used post-arthroscopy reconstructions and anterior cruciate ligament surgeries. Next is muscle spasm. Muscle spasm is linked to pain, and as we use cryotherapy for pain reduction, it can be also used for muscle spasm. Next is spasticity. Cooling has been used clinically for many years to reduce muscle spasticity. The effect of local cooling applied briefly may be quite different from more prolonged cooling that affects deeper muscles. It can also be used for muscle strengthening. Cooling the skin can lead to greater strength of the underlying muscles. Sympathetic system stimulation has also been suggested as the mechanism for great immediate muscle strength. Chronic inflammation condition is another indication where cold therapy is used. So that's it for today's video. There will be a part 2 for cryotherapy where we will discuss further details on cryotherapy. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe my channel, that motivates me to make more video and help other students in this digital learning age. Please follow us on our Instagram, that is PhysioLearn, for more notes. Thank you.